We're breaking it up into fours. One, two, three, four, and then exhale. One, two, three, four. I find that this is a really great practice for really focusing the body and the mind and really preparing the mind in particular for the meditation because of the intense focus that is required to do the breathing itself. Okay. All right. Let's see, make sure I can see everything. All right, here we go. So we're going to do 10 of those. And let's start with an exhale. Shh. Nice, relaxed. Relax the body. And here we go. Inhale. At this point, you can start to breathe normal. I invite you to close your eyes, straighten the spine, find balance in your posture, relax the body. Keep the lips closed, but separate the teeth just a little bit. The tip of the tongue right behind the teeth, touching the roof of the mouth. And just notice any aspect of your current experience that is pleasant. Just kind of take a moment and soak into that pleasantness. Carl Sagan said that if you wish to make an apple pie from scratch, first you must create the universe. And what he's talking about is this concept of emptiness, that ultimately nothing exists independently of everything else. Everything is in some capacity interrelated. So take a moment here and imagine a tree and notice how when you notice the tree, whether it's the one in your head or one in real life, there's a sense of separateness. The separation starts in some capacity with the label that we provide. We almost always apply a label, and this helps promote and reinforce the illusion of separation. When in fact, maybe there's a larger universe that we're a part of in our immediate world and beyond that we separate ourselves from in some capacity, much to our detriment. And that is the illusion of an independent self. So let's take that tree that you're imagining. In fact, trees release phytoncides. We think this tree is separate from us while it is actually doing many things that are hugely beneficial to us, especially conifers. They're the most famous source of phytoncides, although all flowering plants produce them. Phytoncides are called volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. They serve many purposes, not just for the tree, but also for human beings. They're part of their natural defense mechanism, phytoncides are. And they also provide biological signaling. When humans inhale phytoncides drifting from flowers and gardens, they directly interact with human physiology. They boost the immune system. Inhalation of phytoncides triggers an uptick in the count and baseline of natural killer cells in the body, enhancing our resistance to viral infections. They modulate the nervous system, reducing stress hormones like cortisol, thus mitigating anxiety. They enhance mood as well as sleep. They stimulate dopamine and the serotonergic system, and they lower blood glucose levels. Probably noticed when you go on vacation and go in the woods for several days, you feel better. You think it's just because you're on vacation. It's because the trees and the flowers are releasing phytoncides into the air. And as you walk through the forest, you're inhaling those phytoncides, and they have all these positive benefits that I just listed. Other examples of our interdependence: bees, butterflies, bats, and birds pollinate over 70% of the world's crop species, securing our food supply. Forests, oceans, and plants absorb massive amounts of carbon dioxide and generate the oxygen that humans need. That tree that we feel separate from is literally keeping us alive. Nature provides raw materials for life-saving medicines. It's amazing how many pharmaceuticals come from nature. Wetlands, marshes, and healthy soil naturally filter toxins, heavy metals, and debris out of water, providing clean, fresh water. Microorganisms and decomposers break down waste to create nutrient-rich topsoil for crops. There are underground fungal networks, the mycelium, that attach to plant roots, expanding their reach to channel water and deep nutrients directly into food crops. And specific mutated soil bacteria and fungi have naturally evolved to eat and break down human-made plastics and toxic oil spills. Bacteria are serving as our trash men. So this idea that we are in some way separate from the tree is a delusion that is created by the illusion of self. It's almost like there's a drive to maintain that illusion of self. Alan Watts said, there's only one thing happening, everything, and we're part of it. And there's so much that we're affected by negatively and positively that lies right under or very deeply below our conscious awareness. If we bring some of this back to consciousness, it can have a positive impact on our well-being. So the focus of today's practice is to ask, how can we develop positive regard for how we and all the things around us are interdependent rather than independent, and see that everything is arising and passing in our awareness, as well as the illusion of self. Sometimes it expands and gets really strong. Sometimes it contracts. But for the vast majority of the population, it doesn't contract quite enough for them to notice, even for a moment on any given day, usually because we're so busy that we don't even notice the interconnectedness. So there's two parts to the meditation today. First one is bringing a playful curiosity to this idea of non-duality, interconnectedness, emptiness, whatever you want to call it. And then the second part is going to focus on generating positive content, not only for our own personal well-being, but also the well-being of others. So take another breath in, big breath. And as you do that, stretch the spine up a little bit, the body a little bit if you need to stay alert. And then find calmness, stillness. But a posture that promotes alert attention. And just kind of allow your attention to freely float inside the body and outside the body, inside the mind, outside the mind, and welcome everything as it is. Noticing sensations, thoughts, sounds, even silence. So had your eyes closed for a little bit. I'd like for you to, for this next part, open your eyes for a moment. First part of self-inquiry today is to point your finger as you move your head around the room. Something pulls your attention. Point your finger to that object. And as you're pointing at that object, like a laser pointer, whatever you point at, really see it. The color, shape, the details, the smallest of details about that object. And as you do that, notice any mental talk that comes up around that object, and just kind of keep the mental talk background, your attention. And now shift to another object in the room. Pointing at it and getting curious about it. Just having any sense of it being an object in your visual awareness. Just settle your attention there for a moment. Seeing the details. Now point to a part of your body. Could be your feet, legs, hand. Same idea. Just getting curious about the color, the details. Let any sensations that arise just kind of be in the background of your attention. Now, notice that from a certain perspective, what you are pointing at, part of your body, is just another object, something you're experiencing as visual perception. Now, point directly to where the seeing is coming from. What we're playing with here is turning the arrow of attention in the direction of where seeing comes from. What in the world is seeing? Setting aside for a moment kind of what you think or know to be there. What's it like to be aware of this open, spacious awareness? And at this point, you can rest your hand for a moment. And with your eyes still open, just exploring as you're looking around, what is looking? Just holding attention with a sense of openness, taking in the whole scene of objects outside the body, but also noticing the source of seeing. Kind of allow that whole scene to kind of float in space of awareness. You can now close the eyes and notice the space doesn't go away. It just gets dark. There's still this awake, empty awareness, kind of a knowing that's present. From here, we can use that visual exercise that we just did to expand to the space that hears. Is the space that's aware of seeing also the space that's aware of hearing? Just notice auditory sensations, sounds, as well as silences. What if you turn your attention 180 degrees from the sounds and silences to the emptiness and openness that is perceiving the sounds? Just non-verbally in this process, asking the question, who or what is seeing or hearing? Kind of turning the attention on itself. Finally, adding the space that's aware of feeling, body sensation, breathing, tingling, itching, emotional sensations, tension, relaxation. These sensations are also contained in this open space of awareness. The space of awareness isn't a thing. Thoughts and feelings about this space are content. Turn the arrow pointed at the content, the arrow of attention is pointed at the content to the space that is aware of the content. So for the next couple of moments, you have the option to freely float and let your attention go wherever it wants to go. So for example, if you're hearing something, take a moment to hear it as a sensation, an object in awareness, and then turn your attention the other direction. or ask the question, who hears? Or what hears? So turning attention to the boundless space of awareness. So who or what sees, hears, and feels? When you ask that question, it could feel like there's nothing there. That could be disconcerting. Maybe the opposite occurs. Everything is there. That is also okay. Just bring curiosity and see what happens. So it sometimes feels like we're plants living our lives in separate pots. We may also realize that, in fact, we are plants sharing a garden. If you open your eyes and look at the screen right now, just look at your own screen. As you do that, you might get a sense of that's me. And it's very different from noticing the space where everyone on the screen is in awareness. And it's so easy to drop into this idea that we're tending or ignoring this garden that we're all growing in at the same time. And it presents an opportunity ultimately. Right now, we can connect with how everyone is creating sensory input for ourselves. We're also doing the same for everybody else simultaneously. And in that process, we can start to cultivate and nurture positivity. We can take care of ourselves while at the same time taking care of others. And at this point, you can close your eyes for one last time. Take a moment to imagine someone that you care about. Allow a smile to develop if it wants to, and generate a positive wish for them. Maybe it's something along the lines of may you be safe, be happy, be free. You don't have to say those words. You can make up something else entirely, up to you. Whatever you decide in that regard, say that a couple of times to that person, and then shift to another person. Now bring someone to mind you don't know very well. You see them regularly, don't have a strong connection with, and see if you can generate the same positive sensory content for them. May you be safe, happy, be free, or whatever statement feels right for you. And you can gently let that go and start to think of someone a little challenging. Someone that when you think of them normally brings up some sort of contraction in the body, maybe brings up some challenging emotions. And just experiment with wishing them well also. Same phrases you provided to the other people. And see if as you do that, if there's any contraction in the body, you can release that contraction. This doesn't mean that you're letting them off the hook, just softening our attitudes a little bit for our own well-being, first and foremost. Be safe, be happy, be free. Now, if you're open to it, feel like opening your eyes and turning your attention to the squares of the people here that are here to co-create with us, share this practice. In your mind, you can send the same mantra to them. May you be safe, be happy, be free, whatever mantra resonates with you. And know that as you engage in these practices, there's a direct impact on your nervous system in a positive direction. It allows you to become more skillful in managing emotions, increases your well-being, which has a direct impact on the people around you. And it can have impact beyond those people. You can imagine right now looking at people on the screen. They have friends, family, and beyond, neighbors, people who live in the same city, maybe people they know that live in other countries. And you can send for a moment the same mantra to them as well. May all beings be safe, be happy, be free. And with that, we will close our meditation and have a short discussion. Go from there. Okay, so we did stepwise breathing, I think for the first time for everybody in the room. And then we did non-duality.